welcome back. Got the hood pulled out and the sunroof pulled out. The clear coat has had about a day and a half, maybe 2 days to set up, so it should be good to start sanding on. What I'm going to start with is 1000 grit on some of these areas that have the little bumps on there where I dropped the clear coat, and then I'm going to move to 1500 grit. I'm also going to do the 1500 grit Trizact pad just to try to cut through it a little bit faster because there is some orange peel that we have to take out. And after I get through the 1500 grit, I'll probably go with either 2000 grit or the 3000 grit Trizact pad. Not sure exactly what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to see how it turns out. So let's go ahead and get the 1000 grit out and put it in our soapy water here and start knocking some of these high spots down before we move to 1500. Alright, as you can see, the 1000 grit cut this high spot down pretty quickly. So I'm just going to use that on the rest of these little bumps here. And then I'm going to step it up to 1500 and get rid of these 1000 grit scratches that I created. Alright, quick update. I'm still working on the center section here. I've sanded it down with 1500 grit. I'm taking care not to go too deep. There are still a few little specks here and there of little shiny areas or low spots. I'm not planning to sand down all the way through those with 1500 grit because I'm going to try to leave a little bit of material for the 3000 grit or 2000 grit that I plan to do next. And then that will level it out with some of these low spots here. So I'm going to keep going, moving forward. It's a little slow going, but we'll get it done, and I think I'm going to be happy with it because of how flat it's actually turning out. Alright, it's been about 45 minutes and I've got all the 1500 grit sanding complete on the hood. I haven't started on the sunroof. I'll probably do that off camera, but you can get an idea of what it takes to do this here. I avoided all these edges here because I don't want to burn through. It'll burn through a lot easier on the edges. So my next step is going to be to jump over to 2000. I'll probably do a real quick pass of 2000 and then I'll jump up to 3000, take my time a little bit more on that. So let's jump into 2000. Alright, the 2000 grit is now done. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I just made a pass over it and then I hit a couple of key areas. I'm going to go ahead and grab the 3000 grit over here. This is actually a 3000 grit like a Trizact pad. You're supposed to use this on a a DA, but I've found that the DA burns through pretty quickly, and I'm just going to take my time and do it by hand. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to go ahead and spend a little bit more time on the flat surfaces and make sure everything is as perfect as I can now, because once you get to this step, after that you're just polishing it out and you're not going to get any imperfections in the surface out at that point. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, as you can see, I've got the 3000 grit complete. Everything looks really good. All the shine is starting to come back. It's really flat. I mean, it's not 100% perfect, but after I get it buffed out, it's really going to look good. The stuff I'm going to be using today is just going to be a cheap Harbor Freight Chicago Electric brand rotary buffer. I got these at Harbor Freight as well. It's the yellow pad. It's more of a cutting pad, and this is more of a polishing pad, the black one. And with the cutting pad, I'm going to be using this 3M 36060. I've used this a lot. It seems to work really well. And then with the black pad, the polishing, especially on the black car, I'm going to be using the ultra fine machine polish. This is 06068. I'm going to leave a link down in the description below for these 3M products here. This stuff here you can go get at Harbor Freight. So let's go ahead and get this pad saturated with some of this rubbing compound, and then we'll get to buffing. Alright, the hood is looking really nice even after the buffing compound and the yellow pad here. I have yet to use the machine polish on the black pad, but that's what we're going to get into next, and it's going to look even better. Well, as you can see, it looks amazing. It's not perfect, but I wasn't going for perfect. I was going for acceptable. And it really looks just as good, if not better, than the one that's on the car. There's some flaws on the hood that's on the car. There's a couple flaws in this one here, but if I don't point them out, no one will ever notice it. So my next goal is to get this thing mounted on the car. So let's go ahead and uncover the car and get this thing put on there. It's a brand new, old stock front lower hood seal. Let's go ahead and pop this on. Alright, got the hood on the car. As you saw, I had it out at Cars and Coffee this morning. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm glad I redid the clear coat. I wouldn't have been happy with how it was before, but it looks really nice on the car. It was kind of a pain to get all lined up by myself, but I did manage to do it. So I do have another hood over here now, so I may end up using this hood on the rebuild project since that hood is now on my car. So I don't know if I want to keep this hood as like a backup to this one or not. I probably won't because it's so big and it takes up so much space in here, and space is getting pretty tight now. So either way, I'll decide that in the future, but for now I appreciate you guys watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you in the next one.